pastries ever Milo. Hot Milo, cold Milo, anyhow you want it. Modi, you have one Milo ever bonbon. Ou tete sala ou son BFM station pa kwa ou sabe. Ou kwa ou tan bien. When I did my investigations, I found out c'est un bakery ou ki Milo's Bakery as you have all in Portsmouth, where you have one pay bonbon ever pastries. Modu tout quality pay mastiff, big and small. Sliced bread, burger bread, hot dog, any bread you want. Yes, get your great tasting bread, delicious pastries and wonderful bonbon at Milo's Bakery as you have all in Portsmouth. Ou sav apre mon dit tete tout ça. Yale dubu de o bakery a fin chebo mate. Kahele pou tout muntan. Bread and hot Milo on sale. Modi se pa Milo, se Milo's Bakery en Guatans.
Nature Island Cruise 951 on Live 95. Every day, Monday to Friday. Exploring the sights, sounds, happening talk on the blocks, healthy lifestyles, and culture of Dominica. Enjoy daily giveaways of valuable products and services from leading businesses on the Nature Island of the Caribbean. Stay locked and immerse yourself in the breathtaking views from above the undulating hills and valleys, and in the magnificent marine adventures beneath our Caribbean Sea. All this and more on Nature Island Cruise 951 on Live 95, only on the big station. Get a taste of the enchanting Creole and indigenous cuisine and lifestyles of the charming people of Dominica. Experience the dynamic rhythms of our culture, music, and entertainment, our vibrant, unique niche agribusiness products, our refreshing range of colorful flowers, and the fabulous foliage in our horticulture. Explore the prolific life-sustaining values of our natural foods, herbal teas, spices, and medicines. All this and more on Nature Island Cruise 951. Every day, Monday to Friday on Live 95. Only on the big station. Only on Q95.
Wow. All right, Dominique, it's 1:05 and we are ready for talk on the block. My information suggests that budget estimates are in the hands of the opposition. They smell a rat. We'll talk a little about that in a little while. But let's listen to this inspirational message from Tyler Perry, actor, producer, just name it. And that's Tyler Perry. He spoke at Tuskegee University. That's it. Tuskegee University, and delivered this one.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you for asking me to be here today. I must say this is my first commencement speech, and it is also the first time I've been given an honorary doctorate. So as of Monday morning, I will be calling myself Dr. Perry when I return to the studio. Being my first commencement speech, I feel the pressure to say something that will inspire you, something that will make you want to go out and take on the world. So my prayer, my hope, and my intention is to try and do just that today. I don't know if you know this, but I did not go to college. It wasn't that I didn't want to go. It was just that I was going through a very difficult time in my life at that point. And I had also had a front row seat to watch my mother struggle to put my older sister through college. And I didn't want to be that kind of burden on her. I knew firsthand the hardship. And especially, because the truth be told, I wasn't that good of a student. I was smart, but I didn't have the patience to learn a lot of the things that I thought that wouldn't serve me in life. You know how hard-headed teenagers can be. They think they know it all. Well, I was one. Sitting there in school, I would get so frustrated because I never thought that I would use a lot of what I was being taught in my real life. And to give that little hard-headed kid some props, there's a few things he was right about to a degree. Because I can honestly say in the 27 years since I left high school, nobody has ever asked me about the square root of nothing. Nobody has ever asked me about the Nina, the Pinta, or the Santa Maria. Nobody, Jane and Susie had 4 apples, walked 5 miles, they divided their apple. Listen, I never met Jane and I never met Susie. I know some of you thinking, why are you telling these young folks this? They have just studied, they've learned all this. Well, I just want you to know, you ain't gonna use all of it. But that's okay, that's okay. Some of your faces are saying right now, you mean to tell me I could have skipped college and been rich and successful like Tyler Perry? While that is possible, I want to tell you that the advantage that all of you graduates have over me, this education, this college degree that you have worked so hard for, I envy you. Because if I could get back half the time and the monies that I spent and wasted because of what I didn't know, I could have paid for everybody's education in this entire school. You see, somebody say, go ahead, listen. You see, come on now, I only got 20 minutes to get through this. Listen, maybe 30. Listen, you see, it was what I didn't know and that I didn't get in college that made it difficult for me to run my business in the beginning. It was what I didn't know, the basics of business, that if had I gone to college, I could have learned them, which would have helped me so much. Now, don't feel sorry for me. I'm doing all right. But my journey would have been so much easier had I taken advantage of the kind of education that you have been afforded here at Tuskegee. When I was growing up, my father was a carpenter. He would take me to work with him. And in the summertime, it was really hot, and I'd be out there with him, and he'd be building these houses. And the part that I hated most about this was when we had to put in the foundation, the part that was very labor-intensive. There were the footings that had to be dug to a certain depth. However tall the building was, that's how deep the footings had to be. It was painstaking, digging these holes. And I grew up in New Orleans, so you had to put in these 30-foot pilings sometimes in the ground to be able to support the building. So just to know that, then it had to be what we called formed, where you'd put these boards around, and then you had to tie the steel, and after all that work was done, you just poured concrete over it. And here's the thing, after it was all done, if nobody ever saw it. All that work was done and nobody ever saw it. No one ever cared about the foundation. The only time you hear someone talk about the foundation is when a house is falling apart. But when the foundation is done right, nobody mentions it. And when it's done right, it can carry the weight of anything that it was designed to hold. Well, that's what you've been doing here. You've been building a foundation, one that will hold you up for the rest of your life. And when I was a kid, I would ask myself, why is nobody paying attention to this foundation? Why did this work have to be so hard? Have you ever wondered, for some of you, why it had to be so hard to get through school or just make it from day to day? Well, that's because what you were building had to be strong enough to support the weight of whatever you could dream. And if you're like me, you are a huge dreamer. You had to have a foundation that is big enough and strong enough and bold enough to hold all of your dreams and handle them coming true. That's why in life, it's not always an even playing field. What I mean by that is this: while for some, studying, good grades may have come easy, but for others, every day here may have been a struggle. For some, mama and daddy had money to write the check with tuition with ease, but for others, they had to make a choice between paying a bill and getting your books. For some, it was easy to focus and learn, while others were distracted by problems that they were going through at home or working 2 jobs to make ends meet. All that means is that you were being designed to handle different levels of success. I mean, truth be told, no one really knows what you went through to be able to sit in this very seat. They don't know the hell or the turmoil, but trust me when I tell you, all of it was to make you strong enough to go through whatever you have to go through to get to your dreams coming true. I want you to ask yourself this question today: how much can my foundation hold? As you think about that, I need to warn you, it takes a while to build a dream. Think about that when you get out there and you're faced with all kinds of challenges. When you get out there in the world, I want you to remember something. What's in the well will come up in the bucket. So thank God that mama and daddy and big mama and grandpa and Tuskegee, they put some good stuff down in your well. So listen to me. No matter what happens, you've got good stuff down inside of you. You can always count on it, so you remember that. But what happens if you get out there and you find yourself saying, I thought I'd have this job by now or that job by now. I thought I'd be working here or there by now. Why aren't they calling me back? Why haven't I been hired? You see, when you leave the protection of the walls of Tuskegee, when you step out from under mama and daddy's shadow, because I want to tell you something, mama and daddy protecting you is one thing, but that world out there is a whole nother thing to deal with. So what do? When you have worked this hard, built this foundation, everything you are trying to build on, it seems to not be coming together. What happens if you find yourself at an interview and realize that you're being judged because of your name? Right. Or because of the color of your skin, or because of your size, or because of who you love, or where you come from? What if in a few years you find yourself at a glass ceiling that the one in the career that you thought you so desperately wanted? What do? What happens when the job that you wanted or the career that you planned for doesn't come right away? What do? Well, it was 1991. I was just about your age then, and I had written my first play. It was called I Know I've Been Changed. It was about adult survivors of child abuse, and I wanted to do this show, and just my intention was just to make enough money to be able to take care of my mother. That's all I wanted to do. That was my goal. Make the money and retire her. Anyway, I had just moved to Atlanta to try and launch this play, so I went to work. I would always work. You have to always work. You got to always go to work. I managed to save $12,000, and I put the show up, working, used car, bill collector, H&R Block tax return that wasn't quite right, but I got my money out of it. I thought 1,200 people would show up that weekend, but only 30 showed up. My car payment, rent, everything was tied up in it, so I ended up homeless. I ended up out on the street with no money and nothing to my name. But I knew that that is what I was supposed to be doing. I knew that I was on a good foundation. I had put in the work. This was supposed to work. It was supposed to be successful, but it wasn't. Over and over again, it failed, or so I thought. From 1992 to 93 to 94, every year I was doing one show a year. I would go get a job in between, and they would tell me I couldn't take time off. So I would quit. Now, I'm not telling you to go quit your job. I'm telling you what I did. This is my story. I would go tell my boss that I need some time off, and they'd say, no, you just got started working. You just got this job. You can't have any time off. But I knew that that was my destiny, so I kept on doing the play. Every year I would do it. It would fall short, until 1998. In 1998, in the 7th year of me trying, the 7th year of me trying, I was about to give up and walk away. I'd had enough of it. I was going to do like my mother said. She said, baby, go down to the phone company, get you a good job, making about $350 a week and some benefits, and you will be all right. But how many of you know mama's dream for you is not necessarily your dream for yourself? I knew I was in the right place when one day I started getting notes from people, this was before email, who had seen the show. They would say, this really touched me. This really helped me. They started telling me how it had changed their lives, how they were moved by it. Then I realized, wait a second, this story that I'm telling about these adult survivors getting over things, this isn't just about me or where I come from. It's a healing for many people. I saw it, I got it, and it hit me, and my intention changed. At that moment, it was no longer about making enough money to take care of anybody. It became about what it did for the people who saw it, who saw themselves. My entire intention changed in 1998, and everything in my life shifted after that. I was still doing the same show. I was still doing the same things, but because my intention changed, my purpose in what I was doing, this for had changed. My intention became about how do I serve other people? How do I lift other people? When I realized that everything in my life began to fall into place. So I want to talk to you about intention today. What is your intention in your career? Why did you choose it? What is your purpose? Because let me tell you, whatever you set your intention as, that is where you will land. You know, once I changed my intention, once it became about, you're going to hear that word a lot, intention. Once it became about going out on the road with my plays to share what I had learned about life, about faith, and about God, and about forgiveness. Once I did that, everything that I touched seemed to see major success. My intention was to use what I had learned in life, to use my gifts, my writing, and everything within me to lift people, to motivate them, to make them laugh, to use the laughter as an anesthetic so that I could talk about things that were plaguing our community that nobody wanted to talk about. Things like domestic violence and molestation and rape and AIDS and HIV, getting over heartbreak, getting over things that tried to take us out. To talk about someone that no one wanted to talk about in this politically correct society, and that is the name of Jesus. You see, to me, my work is a how-to manual for the average person, for people like me when I was growing up, who couldn't afford therapy, people who couldn't afford to take time off from work while they figured things out, for people who couldn't get in their car and go to the country club and play a round of golf and work things out in their head. It was for people like the people that raised me, people that I'm not ashamed to own like many of us do once we get a few letters behind our name. When my intention changed so that everything in my life, I began to live in purpose and live on purpose. I never thought about money or success again, but it kept coming my way. So much so that I was playing arenas, even until this day, 20, 30,000 people come into the arenas over a weekend, packing the place just to see my live plays. Then on to incredible success in film with over about 15 movies grossing over $1 billion. Then on to television, where I provided jobs and made more millionaires than all the studios combined in a 10-year period when blacks were absent from television and the film. I helped people like Idris Elba by giving him his first movie. I worked with Kerry Washington before Scandal, and Taraji P. Henson before Empire, with Viola Davis before How to Get Away with Murder, and Miss Cicely Tyson, the legendary Cicely Tyson. She said that I helped revitalize her career, and there are many more. Nothing changed in what I was doing other than my intention. So today I want to challenge you to know your intention as to why you do what you do. And I promise you, if your intention is right, you will be successful. But let me warn you what will happen when you're successful, because I don't want you to get out there and get caught off guard. At first, you're going to be celebrated. But when your success surpasses what your peers expect of you, then you will become a target. So now that you have set your intention, now that you have your foundation, let's talk about how to stay on course when the attacks come. And I assure you, they will come for you just as they did for me. When my attacker started, I was shocked because I was so busy looking outside for the enemy to come and tear me down, I didn't even realize that the enemy was standing right in my own backyard. You see, we as black people, we have come through so much and we've endured so much that a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us still bear the scars of our ancestors. We still feel that if one of us is up, then that means that no one else can be too. So in order for me to be up and get ahead, then I can't celebrate you, I have to tear you down. That's the mentality that we have sometimes. That stems from a time in our history that there was only allowed one person of color to be successful at a time. I'll give you an example for Hollywood. When Hattie McDaniel was successful, there couldn't be another. When Dorothy Dandridge was successful, there couldn't be another. When Sammy Davis was successful, you know what I'm saying. You get the picture here. So expect some attacks. It's all a part of it. But remember this. A hunter only shoots at a deer he can see. If you ain't being seen, you ain't doing nothing. I can recall not too long ago being called a coon and a buffoon by one of my peers. Things were written in headlines in some of these blogs like, what's up with him in this dress? Hello. Headlines, shocking. Why did he put these fat black people on TV when House of Pain came out? This is one I saw. It's a title of an article. Tyler Perry hates black women. Another one said Tyler Perry hates black men. I mean, just absurd things that shocked me because it was coming from inside, from black folks. I was blown away. I thought, how could these intellectuals with these degrees, they're so smart, how can they not see what I'm doing here? How could they not get the power of what was happening here for people that everybody else had given up on? Their comments took me aback because I found myself fighting two wars. I was sitting in Hollywood meetings at the board table telling them how important our stories are and how they need to be told, and how it was important that we keep our truths as they are. Yeah. But when I left out of the boardroom, stepped out of that meeting, I had to fight us too. One comment that stuck with me is Tyler Perry, this was the title of an article, Tyler Perry is dangerous for black people. I thought, what? How can they say this? The people who were saying these things must not have known the experiences and my life. And the people around me, they had shaped me, they had shaped my writing and my work, like my uncle with his ashy knees, who drank and fell in and out of love every other weekend. Or my aunt, who would get into an argument with her husband and cut him, dial 911, then pray that he was okay. Or the woman that lived across the street from me who was largely overweight. She had 10 children and she was on welfare. And when I thought about all of these people and their stories, I realized something that stopped me from being frustrated by what they were saying. I quickly stopped paying attention to the naysayers when I realized what they were telling me was, what they were saying is that my stories and the people that I was talking about didn't deserve to have their story told because they were an embarrassment to a certain level of black people. That's what they were saying. And I got angry. I thought, who are they to say that your life and your story as a black person shouldn't be told because you don't look like what they want you to look like? I got angry not just for me, but for all of the people that I love and the millions of people that love what I do. I was offended for the people that I grew up with and the people that loved me so much. I was offended for the people that were maids and garbage truck drivers and hairdressers, the people that shined shoes and washed dishes and scrubbed toilets and cleaned houses, so that the very people that are talking about the work that I'm doing could get the degrees to be authorities on all things Tyler Perry. But I must say, when my anger subsided, I wanted to understand this level of elitist ignorance. It didn't take me long to find out that this lives in our culture as well. There is a history of it. It was Langston Hughes who said that Zora Neale Hurston, one of the greatest literary minds of our times, was a new version of the darky because her story spoke in a southern dialect. I got it then. And it also will go the other way, where they say if you get too much education, then you're trying to be too white. Or if you speak proper English, you're trying to be white. Or if, and just take Whitney Houston, who was booed at the Soul Train Awards by black people because she sounded too white. It was in The Color Purple where people boycotted because of the stories and the way that Alice Walker had depicted black men. Alice Walker, a black woman, Alice Walker. They boycotted the movie.
Come on now.
And then when it didn't win any Oscars, they boycotted. They said that Oprah was too white. They said that the Cosby Show didn't represent us as black people. So it goes both ways. In my research, I found something shocking. What I found is that we as black people, we have the greatest migration that you can imagine. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Tell you what we do to ourselves. When some of us make a little money, or when we get some degrees, we don't want to be reminded of who we are and where we come from. When we see someone that reminds us of our grandparents or our ancestors, we get offended. If we see an image of a black person on television that is overweight, we get troubled. And you know the thing that bothers me is I have never seen our white brothers and sisters apologizing for telling all sides of their story. Realizing that I learned not to apologizing for telling all shades of ours. As an artist, this is the art that I want to paint. And I'm going to tell you this, graduates, just as I will never do it, don't you ever change one brushstroke on your canvas because somebody doesn't like what you paint. Because I'll tell you what happened. While they were talking, my intention stayed the same, to encourage, to lift, to inspire. While they were murmuring, I kept going higher. I kept on building, still getting bigger. I kept on working. Why am I telling you this? Number one, so that you know how to stay on course. Keep your intention no matter what pressures come your way. And also, I'm telling you this because it's time that we stop running from where we come from to look for someone else to approve us. I don't know why we run out to someone else looking for validation. I want to tell you something. We are enough. You are enough. Your gift is enough. Live in your truth. Share your gifts. Don't worry about who gets it. If your aim and your intention is for right and to do the right thing, you will make it. And when you do, don't run from us. Don't be embarrassed by us. Come back and help us. You are the generation that has the power to do away with this kind of thinking. You are the generation that can change this. You can show us that all of our stories and all of our lives matter. When I made my first $1 million, I'll tell you what I did. I went back and I set up shop right in the middle of our community, in the hood. I will never forget when President Obama was running for re-election in 2012 and he came to the studio, and to see all of those little black faces lining the streets, holding their flags, waving at the presidential motorcade came driving through the ghetto. I saw hope in their eyes. It made me cry because I realized that some of them know that they can do it too. I recently bought Fort McPherson Army Base in Atlanta to build my new studio. And it's right in the middle of one of the lowest income areas in Atlanta. And I will hire many people from that neighborhood and train them on how to run their own companies. It gives me so much joy to know that an army base that was established and built just a few years after slavery is now owned by a Negro. I say that to say this to you, that our ancestors, they walked their path. Your grandparents, your mother, your father, they all walked their paths. Now it's your turn. Return to where you come from when you made it. You have the foundation. Know your intention. Know that it's not going to be easy, but just keep yourself on track. Know the value of what is already down in your well. Know that you are special. Know that you carry it. You have the torch. It's already been bought and paid for. Now it's in your hands. Use it for good. Inspire somebody. Encourage somebody. Uplift somebody. And finally, return to where you got started. Build with us. Teach us. Show us what you've learned. Help us to see that we can do it too. Then help somebody else to know that they are just as special as you are. Amen. May God bless you, Tuskegee. Bless all your dreams. Bless you.
All right, thank you very much, Tyler Perry. Thank you so much. I hope that inspired you somewhat. So many graduates out there. In 2016, he was speaking to the university there and trying to inspire as many people as possible. He's an actor, he's a producer. Hope you want to be like that someday. Graduate, I hope you paid attention. We're going to come back, Dominica. But let's take a phone call. I'm sure many people listen today. Hello.
My people like that, you need to speak to children and young adults that live in college, not people like the Pantyman. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Oh, the Pantyman spoke at the college. I mean, somebody you sent me that message from the U.S. and thought that I could share it with my many listeners. And after I listened, I said, you know what? It's something that all students from all nationalities and the Dominicans alike could pay attention. It inspired me, and I just hope it inspired you. Thank you, Tyler. Tyler Perry. Hello, talk to me. Yes.
My brother, blessings to you.
Blessings to you, man.
All right. Matt, I have bought a few little movies of this man. And Matt, I'm in common. When you're blessed, it seems like there is no limit to your blessings. In the midst of curse too, you know, Matt.
Yes.
Do not fool yourself. You have your challenges, you're carrying your crosses, which I consider a curse as well. And the blessings supersedes that, Matt. And everybody said, but no matter how low Matt go, he don't fall in. You know, they're really wondering, I mean, come on, they're seeing there is something that's sustaining you, and they cannot explain it. And the man is entertaining, educating, you're laughing, you're crying, and you're being educated at the same time. And I see that man to be, even if he was a gay Matt, I would love him like that. And I heard he was molested when he was a small boy, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that in his history. So I want to commend, and as Blue said, you know, do not go and get people that are so...
You know, and one thing that he noted, that he did not go to college.
Yes, and I take note of that as well, Matt. And they're listening from the beginning, from the start.
Yeah.
And they're saying, whoa, you know, and that man is so profoundly connected. He's so wise. He's so filled with wisdom and knowledge and teachings. So really and truly, if you just sit down and they're waiting for the jokes, well, the jokes is education. The jokes is entertainment. The jokes is humor. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's the same thing, but I'm just saying there is more to learn than just going and watch a show and laughing. That man is a real educator. He's inspired, Matt, and I think he's very enlightened as well. So
and it's a message, I think, that could be shared with maybe all of our graduates.
That's it. It seems very, very interesting. Just like Angelo read, had a graduate from America, a black guy again, read a poem. And Matt, I say, no, man, that is celestial, because he went into the black holes and everything, and to see how the guy crafted that. So that speeches like that, it can last a lifetime, Matt. It can last a lifetime, unless if we want to play our, you know, like a foolishness and figure out who is an American and who is Dominican. Let us get somebody that is Dominic. You see the same fight down the brother have, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
From his own
camp.
Yes, it seems like it's inherent. From the hell we have been through, we are still married and so attached, Matt, glued into the self-hate, what we have been taught against us. And now we need not the mechanism of anything to trigger us into exercising that level of prejudice against ourselves. So I'm glad the brother triumph over that, over them all, and be what he is, because to me that man have educated me a lot too much. Thank you, blessings.
Thank you too. A number of phone calls coming in here. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, Matt, and good afternoon, well, conscientious Dominican. Good afternoon, blessing.
Good afternoon.
Matt, thank you so much for that speech. What a resounding speech. And Matt, I thank you for the information, because the area, I live in the community where he is going to build that studio, record studio. Thank you for the information. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you too. Hello. Anytime I find something that can inspire the rest of you, I will share it. Hello. Let's take another phone call. Hello. Yes?
Hi, good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you.
Very inspirational. You should check with Michelle Obama too. She was at a college graduation too, and she spoke, and it was very, very inspiring also. But I have that, and it's very good, and you should play it again.
I will play it again when I find the time to do so, Gail. Thank you so much. 138. Hello.
Matt, good afternoon to you and your listeners.
Yes.
Excellent speech, Matt, and it needs to be played from time to time so that our students, our children can understand, can learn, can analyze, and adjust themselves. I want to thank the gentleman, and perhaps somebody like that would be good to be heading our state college, because our children will really pick up, Matt. I want to thank you for taking the time to play it, for those of us who have not heard it, to listen. And I want to thank Q95. We expect that of Q95. Information, education, food for thought. That's what Q95 stands for. I want to ask the Almighty to continue to bless this radio station, to continue to bless you and all those who sit in the saddle, in the saddle, to speak truth to power. I congratulate this man. I concur with him. And this man make us feel proud, Matt. I am happy to say so. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Copel. Thank you. I'm happy that you were inspired somewhat. Let's take another phone call here. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Matt, I missed that speech.
You missed that one? I'm sure I'll play it again sometime, okay? Sometime later this week, all right? Thank you.
6 months broadband internet from Digicel Play. Simply sign up for Play TV service and get 8 megabyte broadband internet free for 6 months. Enjoy more channels on Digicel Play TV. Watch all the latest movies and sports in high definition. And get 6 months free reliable broadband internet with free installation and free modem. This offer is valid for a limited time only. Call us at 616-1600 or 616-1700 for more information. Or visit the Digicel Play office on Bath Road. Digicel terms and conditions apply. Experience extraordinary.
Manchester United have made an incredible signing from the Caribbean. Everyone's watching Flo, a real game changer. My word, this team's giving the fans plenty to cheer about.
Flo has joined with Manchester United to bring you behind-the-scenes action, live updates, and exclusive videos. Stay updated with Red Alerts. Text MUFC to 2300 to sign up, or download the app at flowmanunited.co. Flo and Manchester United, together we're in a different league.
You can say that again.
Conditions apply.
Let's take another phone call. Hello.
Yes, what's going on, my brother?
My brother, how are you doing?
I just want to tell you I appreciate that speech that you played by Tyler Perry. It's really motivating. And what really captured me, see where he talks about the foundation.
Yep.
That's the same thing I see about children, because the youths today and the education are tomorrow's generation. So you can imagine if the children today, you mess their education or mess their mind up, what generation we're going to have? We're going to have a messed up foundation. So it's important that we think about the foundation that you could build a solid structure on, because the foundation is what holds everything together. If it's a weak foundation, the house will come crumbling down. You know what I'm saying? So the man knew what he was talking about, the foundation. The children, they are the future. So actions speak louder than words of the people that say they're helping the children. We got to see their action. You got to show. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. We do appreciate that. We're going to come back after this.
Who in your family takes charge during an emergency? Do you have a family emergency plan? If you don't, here are some things every responsible member of the family should know. How to turn off water, gas, and electricity. Basic first aid. Where to go and what to do when a disaster strikes. When do you evacuate your home? Find out today how you can protect your family.
Visit www.weready.org.
Free up with 6 months broadband internet from Digicel Play. Simply sign up for Play TV service and get 8 megabyte broadband internet free for 6 months. Enjoy more channels on Digicel Play TV. Watch all the latest movies and sports in high definition. And get 6 months free reliable broadband internet with free installation and free modem. This offer is valid for a limited time only. Call us at 616-1600 or 616-1700 for more information. Or visit the Digicel Play office on Bath Road. Digicel terms and conditions apply. Experience extraordinary.
Okay, let's get back to the telephone now. Hello.
Matt, when I think you called a while ago and mentioned, in comparison to people to present and to inspire and influence, Matt, the world, a lot of places in the world could not understand what Bob Marley was singing, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
But they were just attached to it because it is divine. It is so real. It is hardcore. You see, just like Tyler Perry there, my brother, a lot of young people, they will not listen because they're preoccupied in all kind of gadgets. But anytime that level of inspiration was uttered in any institution, any place, Matt, it would have captured them. Even after they left there, maybe they may have forgotten most of it. But for the moment, they would be in a trance, Matt, listening to that level of teachings. And I really do appreciate you, because I forget to tell you that, for playing that, seeing the value and, of playing something like that. But Matt, really and truly, in closing, Matt, can you please get somebody in government to tell us how they're going to build a hospital on patients, Matt? Thank you, bro.
Hello, talk to me.
Yes, good afternoon, Matt.
How are you doing?
Good evening. Not bad, and good evening to your listening public. Matt, I listened to the recording, and the message in it for me, Matt, is that when you graduate, you should return to your community and do what you can to uplift your community. Now, in that regard, Matt, in the 60s and the 70s, Matt, a group of us, including people like Dr. Pyre Revere, Hilroy Thomas, to mention a few, Tinko and a few of us, were doing similar stuff. We were back in the community, and under every little tree, we didn't need we talked to two and three, talking to the young people. As a result, a large number of young people in those days ended up going into university. Some of them came back. The generation of graduates now are elitist. All they tell you is they have their masters, and basically we are not seeing what is the contribution that they are making in terms other than they have a job. What is the contribution are they making to the community in terms of going back into those areas and, talking to some people, explaining to them what life is, even guiding some of these misguided politicians who seem to think that it is all about denigrating other people and cussing people and always making a deba out of the slightest little thing. If you have that level of education, Matt, you are supposed to be more communicating with people. You should be more, down to earth. What happened now, Matt, is that we need those people. Most of them are in the public service, and it is sad to say that the conduct that we see now is not representative of the kind of message that Tyler Perry was sending. And it is very sad. And though they will claim to be so educated and more educated, Matt, it is that message that resounds with me, that we should go back, that foundation that you got, or maybe the foundation that was built by you, or in modern times, there is crack in the wall. Maybe they didn't put enough cement, they didn't put enough steel, or they didn't dig deep enough. Maybe the foundation is not as solid, Matt. That is the other message that I look at these things, because I don't look at the surface of things. I look deep beneath the surface and see how it impacts and what the message is.
Thank you so much. And a few people just want to hear a little bit of Tyler. Okay, let's share that with you before we go at this time.
This is my first commencement speech, and it is also the first time I've been given an honorary doctorate. So as of Monday morning, I will be calling myself Dr. Perry when I return to the studio. Being my first commencement speech, I feel the pressure to say something that will inspire you, something that will make you want to go out and take on the world. So my prayer, my hope, and my intention is to try and do just that today. I don't know if you know this, but I did not go to college. It wasn't that I didn't want to go. It was just that I was going through a very difficult time in my life at that point. And I had also had a front row seat to watch my mother struggle to put my older sister through college. And I didn't want to be that kind of burden on her. I knew firsthand the hardship. And especially, because the truth be told, I wasn't that good of a student. I was smart, but I didn't have the patience to learn a lot of the things that I thought that wouldn't serve me in life. You know how hard-headed teenagers can be. They think they know it all. Well, I was one. Sitting there in school, I would get so frustrated because I never thought that I would use a lot of what I was being taught in my real life. And to get a little hard-headed kid some props, there's a few things he was right about to a degree. Because I can honestly say in the 27 years since I left high school, nobody has ever asked me about the square root of nothing. Nobody has ever asked me about the Nina, the Pinta, or the Santa Maria. Nobody, Jane and Susie had 4 apples, walked 5 miles, they divided those apples. Listen, I never met Jane and I never met Susie. I know some of you thinking, why are you telling these young folks this? They have just studied, they've learned all this. Well, I just want you to know, you ain't gonna use all of it. But that's okay, that's okay. Some of your faces are saying right now, you mean to tell me I could have skipped college and been rich and successful like Tyler Perry? While that is possible, I want to tell you that the advantage that all of you graduates have over me, this education, this college degree that you have worked so hard for, I envy you. Because if I could get back half the time and the monies that I spent and wasted because of what I didn't know, I could have paid for everybody's education in this entire school. You see, somebody say, go ahead. Listen. You see, come on now, I only got 20 minutes to get through this. Listen, maybe 30. Listen, you see, it was what I didn't know and that I didn't get in college that made it difficult for me to run my business in the beginning. It was what I didn't know, the basics of business, that if I had gone to college, I could have learned them, which would have helped me so much. Now, don't feel sorry for me. I'm doing all right. But my journey would have been so much easier had I taken advantage of the kind of education that you have been afforded here at Tuskegee. When I was growing up, my father was a carpenter. He would take me to work with him. And in the summertime, you know, it was really hot, and I'd be out there with him, and he'd be building these houses. And the part that I hated most about this was when we had to put in the foundation, the part that was very labor-intensive. There were the footings that had to be dug to a certain depth. However tall the building was, that's how deep the footings had to be. It was painstaking, you know, digging these holes. And I grew up in New Orleans, so you had to put in these 30-foot pilings sometimes in the ground to be able to support the building. So just to know that, then it had to be what we called formed, where you'd put these boards around, and then you had to tie the steel, and after all that work was done, you just poured concrete over it. And here's the thing, after it was all done, if nobody ever saw it. All that work was done and nobody ever saw it. No one ever cared about the foundation. The only time you hear someone talk about the foundation is when a house is falling apart. But when the foundation is done right, nobody mentions it. And when it's done right, it can carry the weight of anything that it was designed to hold. Well, that's what you've been doing here. You've been building a foundation, one that will hold you up for the rest of your life. And you know, when I was a kid, I would ask myself, you know, why is nobody paying attention to this foundation? Why did this work have to be so hard? Have you ever wondered, for some of you, why it had to be so hard to get through school or just make it from day to day? Well, that's because what you were building had to be strong enough to support the weight of whatever you could dream.
All right, I'll tell you what, sometime this week I'll repeat this entire speech there from Tyler Perry. Very inspiring. But we're getting hints as to, you know, what may come in the budget. Thompson Fontaine, Dr. Thompson Fontaine is on the line with me for a few minutes, and we'll be talking and exploring more. But let's talk with Dr. Thompson Fontaine for the next few minutes right here on Talk on the Block. Doctor, thank you.
Yes, Matt. Good afternoon, and good afternoon.
I just want to thank you publicly for holding on for a few days. I've been told you did a great job. But let's talk about the budget. What are you hearing? Because I'm hearing... And somebody said to me a few minutes ago, I smell a rat. What's going on? Are you there? I think
we'll... I can tell that the budget debate is scheduled for next Tuesday.
It's scheduled for next Tuesday, yes?
Yes, and just a couple hours ago, the budget estimate was delivered to the opposition parliamentarians.
So literally, as I'm speaking to you, I've not even opened up the packages yet. That was delivered this morning. So I'm really not sure what exactly is in there. But I can tell you that we are preparing ourselves to go into debate on Tuesday, even without the benefit of many days preparation. I'm looking closely at the numbers. But one thing we found, Matt, is that every year is the same thing. The numbers from last year are just increased by a certain amount and so on, with no relevance or no reference to reality. So I expect more of the same this year. I expect a budget that is simply based upon what happened last year, a little increase, no vision, nothing for where we are in the country, nothing was tackling the issue of joblessness, tackling the issue of the high rate of youth unemployment. I would like to see a budget, Matt, where, there are policy decisions to really tackle the rate of unemployment in this country, to really put the young people of this country to work, and to really revitalize the agriculture sector.
Have you had a chance to look at the passport numbers just yet?
Not as yet, Matt, but some people are reporting that they're estimating that it will get close to $200 million, not in this year, but 2016-17, next year. $200 million from about 90 million this year.
From my information, Thompson Fontaine, and you may want to pay close attention to that, there seem to be some differing numbers as to, you remember Vince reporting 124, and now we're hearing about 200 million. So something is going on there. The figures are different, if you will.
Yes, Matt. So that's why I say we need to look at it very closely to understand exactly what is happening. Because if you recall, Matt, on your program some time ago, earlier in the year, you remember Vince indicated that 124 million was already gained from the sale of passport.
Right.
Right. Now, I'm being told, I'm not seeing the numbers, that it's actually less than this number. So one would not want to know exactly what is going on. Because if Vince had 124 million for the first 6 months of the year, which would be in this last financial year, 2015-16, the question then becomes what happened to it. So these are the kind of questions that we will be looking at, where the levels of revenues are. But I'm also very much interested in seeing how much money was collected after Erica. That would be a critical number, because you know that the Prime Minister appointed Baroness Scotland to be our relief coordinator to get in
and the fact the Prime Minister had already reported 32 million, but the figures have not changed significantly.
No, well, 42 million, that is very inconsequential considering the scale, $1 billion in damages. So that appears to be very inconsequential, and one obviously want to ask the question why. So there are lots of questions that we have in store for the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance.
Well, I will allow you, Mr. Dr. Fontaine, to pay a little more attention to the figures. I know you just received them, and we can talk a little more in the morning on the hot set.
Yes, absolutely, Matt. I'll spend some time, and then we can come back.
Thank you very much. Fiscal package to be presented on Tuesday. Budget for 2016.